What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package updates, daily news, pretty much everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new videos on our YouTube channel here. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below as well. Lots to talk about here today. First, the Biden administration is being forced to comply with a Trump-era policy regarding the border and immigrants crossing over the border illegally, known as the Remain in Mexico policy. Check this out.
We turn now to immigration. The number of undocumented immigrants in the U.S. detention centers has increased by more than 50% since President Biden took office. But now the Biden administration is set to reinstate a controversial Trump-era policy which forces migrants seeking asylum to remain in Mexico. NBC's Guad Venegas has the details.
Tonight, despite campaigning against his predecessor's immigration stance, President Joe Biden will reinstate a controversial policy. Migrants arriving at the U.S. land border seeking asylum will have to remain in Mexico once again. This was Biden in a debate during the campaign.
This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
He also called the policy inhumane due to violence migrants faced when they waited in Mexico. Now, Biden did end the policy soon after taking office, but now his administration is set to implement the rule once again after losing a battle in federal appeals court and the Supreme Court.
We want to end this program, but we also believe in following the law, and that's exactly what we're doing.
The rule, formerly known as the Migrant Protection Protocol, requires migrants seeking asylum to remain in Mexico during the legal process, allowing only limited entry for court proceedings. The program is set to restart Monday at one border city, and it's expected to eventually include 7 border crossings from coast to coast along the Mexican border. The change will include, quote, certain humanitarian improvements, according to the Department of Homeland Security.
Nos encontramos en una situación vulnerable, pasamos peligro.
According to the nonprofit Human Rights First, the organization tracked more than 1,500 cases of migrants kidnapped or attacked while under the Remain in Mexico program during the Trump administration. Today, the news coming just weeks after Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador visited Washington to meet with President Biden.
Well, welcome.
Today, the Mexican government releasing a statement accepting the policy, saying, quote, the United States has accepted concerns regarding a need for more resources available to shelters and aid organizations. In addition, it states vaccines will be made available to the migrants returned to Mexico. Mexican officials also say the U.S. is taking local security concerns into consideration, yet it doesn't specify what actions could be taken.
All right, Guad Venegas joins us now from Los Angeles live tonight. And Guad, although the Biden administration is implementing the rule, they do say they still want to get rid of the program eventually?
Right. So President Biden promised to end this practice during the campaign. Now the administration says they're going to follow the court's order, but continue to pursue the legal path to effectively end the practice at the border. We should also note that under the change they've implemented, they're going to assign more resources to the immigration system to make sure that the asylum seekers under this Remain in Mexico program get through the process in less than 6 months. Tom?
Yeah, so the Biden administration has lost this case, as you heard there, in the Supreme Court and the Federal Court of Appeals. So at this point, it looks like this program is here to stay, at least for the short term. Remember, the Supreme Court is pretty much as high as it goes. It doesn't mean this can't be tried again, but as for now, this program has just been reinstated here yesterday. So this is major news here going on here in our country. Let me know your thoughts. Are you for this? Are you against this? And I will keep you up to date here. As we know, border crossings and, people coming into our country illegally is one of the major concerns here. Every time they take a poll here, of people concerned about our country, that is one of the top, if not sometimes the number one thing that people say is on their minds regarding our country. So, major, major thing here. I will keep you up to date here. Next, let's go to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer talking here in the Senate regarding the stimulus package and a timeline and multiple different things here. Here we go.
As we begin the first full week in December, there is much that the Senate must attend to before we reach the end of the year. First, Senate Democrats remain committed in taking up and passing President Biden's Build Back Better Act before Christmas. As I outlined in a letter to my caucus this morning, Senate Democrats have been working furiously to clear the necessary steps to achieve this goal. As we all know, the reconciliation process is not an easy one. The reason why this timeline is so important is because this legislation is about lowering costs for American families. As we enter the winter months, American families deserve a little extra help affording things like childcare and pre-K. They need help lowering costs of things like prescription drugs and making health care more affordable. And families need to know that critical programs like the child tax credit will continue uninterrupted. This program has already done immense good for millions upon millions of families. Build Back Better will make sure these benefits stay in place. For these reasons, we're going to continue the process until Build Back Better is signed into law. This is arduous work. It takes time, precision, and a lot of pieces moving together. It has taken months of communication, negotiation, countless late nights and weekend workdays to bring us to this point. I want to thank my colleagues, their staff, and the parliamentarian for dedicating the full measure of their attention and talent toward this endeavor. We are close, and we will keep going until the job is done. Other Senate priorities. As we continue working on Build Back Better, Democrats will simultaneously address other year priorities as well. First, we'll continue working as necessary to process President Biden's nominations, both to the federal bench and to serve in key posts within his administration. On that front today, we'll begin consideration of a terrific nominee, Jessica Rosenworcel, tapped by President Biden to serve as chair of the FCC. Ms. Rosenworcel has nearly a decade of experience already as an FCC commissioner and will soon be the first ever woman confirmed to serve as chair, breaking another glass ceiling in our government. She has been a fierce advocate for closing the digital divide, for protecting net neutrality, and when confirmed, Ms. Rosenworcel will oversee critical federal programs that help low-income Americans secure internet access. There are other nominees to come this week. Regrettably, if our Republican colleagues continue their holds on various individuals, senators should prepare for the possibility of late nights and votes on the weekend. The President deserves to have his team, and we will spend whatever time we need to ensure his nominees are confirmed. And finally, Madam President, Democrats will also continue addressing other issues before this year. We will keep working on finding a path forward on voting rights legislation, and there are many intense discussions going on in that area. We will also work to address the debt limit and preserve the full faith and credit of the United States. And I want to thank Leader McConnell for his cooperation in that regard. And this week, we also anticipate we'll be able to reach a final conference agreement on the NDAA. Congress has passed the annual defense bill without fail for roughly 60 years, largely on a bipartisan basis. I expect this year will be no different. So there's a lot of work to do, Madam President. It will likely take weekends and late nights to get it done, but we'll continue forging ahead on behalf of the American people.
Yeah, so there's Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer with an update. As I said, there's a lot here that they have to do here. The debt limit or the debt ceiling is the number one priority in terms of time and really urgency and really gravity concern because really that's just like we're talking about the U.S. government defaulting. It's kind of like the government going into bankruptcy. Um, it's a pretty good analogy there. It's like Imagine the U.S. government going into bankruptcy. It's kind of what would happen here. It's the Treasury Department would literally run out of money, and they continue to confirm that December 15th is the date that they need to have this done by. In fact, here's an article here from yesterday that Steny Hoyer, the House Majority Leader, says December 15th is the drop dead deadline to hike the debt ceiling. Yeah, so I've seen some articles that said that maybe they can do it after that. But Steny Hoyer says no. December 15th says it's the drop dead deadline to hike the debt ceiling. And look at this is just a freeze frame here. Sometimes they have videos that autoplay of that's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. What a time to pause the video. Yeah, that's kind of the thought that I get when I talk about the debt limit as we're getting closer and closer. We're down to a week now. They have to pass it by December 15th or really before December 15th. So we're down to a week now. Yeah, that's kind of the face that I think about. Yeah. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, a Democrat from Maryland, argued Monday that Congress must raise the debt ceiling by mid-month or risk an economy-gutting government default. Yeah. The exact date that the Treasury exhausts its ability to pay its obligation is an imprecise science, as federal revenues can fluctuate in unpredictable ways. But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has most recently estimated the date to be December 15th. And Steny Hoyer says he's sticking with that timeline as Congress returns to Washington this week. He says, quote, "That's not a magic date, as you know. That's a speculated date based upon revenue coming into the Treasury of the United States, which will determine how solvent they are at any one period of time," Hoyer told reporters on a press call. Quote, "I'm hopeful that we will get that done significantly before the 15th. Well, it's already the 7th. So I don't know about significantly before because we're pretty much already there. And it doesn't sound like they're anywhere close to that at all. But the 15th, I think, is the date that I am using as the last possible day we could act, whether or not that is the actual case, because we don't know the revenue flow at any given day. Yeah. How Democrats intend to actually move the debt limit hike is another open question. Hoyer said party leaders have not yet decided if they'll move it as a standalone measure or try to attach it to the defense spending bill, which is among the last must-pass proposals left for Congress to consider before the long December recess. It is a little bit up in the air, but what's not up in the air is the sense, I think, in both the Senate and the House that we need to act this week. Raising the debt limit does not allocate new spending, but only authorizes the Treasury to make good on obligation it has accrued under administrations of both parties in the past. Still, the issue is frequently used as political cudgel, as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, after agreeing in September to hike the debt limit for several months, has vowed not to help Senate Democrats a second time this month. Mitch McConnell has maintained Democrats are in power and therefore have the responsibility to do it themselves. Although Steny Hoyer says that Senator McConnell has made it very clear that he believes a default would be a catastrophic economic event for the country and the global community. I share that view. I think that most rational members share that view, and therefore I am hopeful that we can come to an agreement, hopefully this week. And yet they're nowhere close to this. And remember, we've had even President Biden and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer say that if they default on this, any type of money coming from the government could be delayed. That includes Social Security payments, child tax credit payments, bond interest payments, payments to servicemen, military, um, government workers. Any type of money coming from the government could be delayed because the government would literally run out of money. And they would have money coming in from revenue sources, but remember the government runs a deficit every single day. Okay, that's why we have 28 some trillion dollars in debt. Okay, remember just the last 4 years of former President Trump's presidency, they ran up like $8 trillion in debt. Yeah, $8 trillion in deficit. Okay, in just 4 years, so that's like $2 trillion in deficit per year, just in the last 4 years. Okay, just to give you an idea of how much the government is going into debt. Okay, so, and that was under a Republican reign. So now we're under a Democrat reign, and really not much has really changed, to be honest. Okay, it's kind of status quo, right? I mean, I know people think it's completely different, but we're still running a deficit. So, yeah, so if they default, which is now a week away, time just keeps on ticking. Our entire economy is at risk, and we're nowhere close to making a deal. Nowhere close to making a deal. And of course, Congress is going to wait to the last day to try to figure it out. And remember, Republicans are vowing not to vote for this. Meanwhile, Democrats are working this week to try to finish up the stimulus package as well as the Senate parliamentarian work. The Senate parliamentarian is the person, her name is Elizabeth McDonough. She's not an elected official, but she works at the Senate. She's supposed to be not a Democrat, not a Republican. And honestly, sometimes she rules kind of in favor one way or the other. But she's trying to finish up her committee work to this week to finalize a lot of things on the stimulus package of what her ruling would or would not include. So right now she's kind of ruled twice on some of the immigration policies that she says should not be in the stimulus package. Okay, and ultimately they can overrule her, but most of the time the Senate follows her ruling. People like Senator Joe Manchin kind of say, well, I kind of agree with the parliamentarian. If she says it shouldn't be in there, they tend to not overrule her. It's not very often. I don't know if they've ever overruled her that I know of. Maybe someone in the audience might know if they're more of a congressional scholar than me. You might know if they've ever overruled her. Not that I know of, but maybe it's happened. But Joe Manchin is unlikely to overrule her. I'm not saying it's impossible, but remember, they need every single Democratic senator's vote to overrule her. So it's possible, but if she says something like immigration or anything, even paid leave or anything in this stimulus package, or even the prescription drug pricing should not be included, well, then that makes it less likely to be included because they can try to overrule her with the simple 50 to 51 votes that they need. But remember that back from the third stimulus check package, the House actually passed a $15 an hour minimum wage in there. Okay. But then the Senate parliamentarian ruled that it shouldn't be included in there. It doesn't really pass the reconciliation rules, which means that the main rule for that is that it needs to affect the federal budget, the government budget, okay, and not just merely incidental, okay, not just by incidentalness per se. And she ruled that it didn't. Raising the federal minimum wage did not pass that rule. And they tried to overrule her, and they only got 42 votes out of the 50 senators. So they had to remove it. Okay. So just kind of as a very good example, that happened in the third stimulus check package. So that could happen again. So let me know your thoughts, because she did that twice already on her initial rulings on some of the immigration pieces as well. Now, remember that anything she overrules and they ultimately have to remove lowers the cost of this stimulus package. And anything they lower the cost of in the stimulus package um, reduces the price, and then also kind of leaves it open to possibly add anything new in. So, especially if they end up reducing the cost significantly, that definitely leaves a possibility to maybe add some new things in there, potentially like a stimulus check for adults, in addition to the monthly checks that are already in there right now for the child tax credits, of which the last payment is going to be on December 15th, which is coincidentally the day that the government is set to default or run out of money, the debt limit day. It's also called the X day. Yeah. Also want to address that. So that pink plant there, I had a lot of questions about that. That is called a Christmas cactus. Yeah, that's my wife's Christmas cactus, and coincidentally, we've had that for several years. I have another one right here off screen that you can't see, but that only blooms around Christmas, actually. Yeah, so it blooms every year around Christmas. It's a Christmas cactus. And what's funny is that we have two of them, and every year they bloom around Christmas. Let me know if you've ever heard of a Christmas cactus or if you have one. And what's funny is my mom has one, and hers is not blooming at all around Christmas. So both of our Christmas cactuses are in sync and are actually blooming every year around Christmas. But my mom's is not blooming around Christmas. So our Christmas cactuses are very timely. They're up to speed and they know what they're doing. They're not waiting till the last minute, unlike the Senate. So yeah, I had a lot of people say, "Oh, what is your plant? I love your plant." It's and yes, it's a Christmas cactus. So yeah, I had a lot of questions about that. So that's what it is. It's my wife's Christmas cactus. So yeah, so our other Christmas cactus over here is already losing its flowers a little bit. So we'll have to see how long it lasts. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'll keep you up to date here. We're also going to be doing our What's in the Box next contest here. You can kind of see I have a box back there. Ah, it's when I look at myself, I have a computer screen here. I'm looking at myself in reverse in mirror form. So sometimes you'll see I look in reverse, but it's like I'm looking at myself in a mirror. So, but yeah, we're going to be doing another What's in the Box contest here before Christmas as well here. So stay tuned for that here. So I'll keep you up to date here. What's in the Box contest where we give away money and you guess what's in a box. I'm going to give you clues on how to do that if you haven't seen that yet. So very cool contest. It's a lot of fun. Even if you don't win, it's a lot of fun to do here. So make sure to subscribe down below. I'll keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C. So definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. It's free to do so. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And click here to see new Social Security raises bill that just came out. Very big news about that as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.